I always love seeing candles because they remind me of who we are. When you see the light, how still it is, and not when you aggravate that light with thought, right? It will shake around a little bit, and the light is always there, but it's moving around when it's attracted to the thoughts, right? So we seem to dwell in a society that loves intelligence, and there's nothing wrong with intelligence, but intelligence has intel. Intel is a defense mechanism. And what are we defending against? We're defending against who we are. And who are we? Well, we're very powerful. And the way that we discover that is that we go inside through different modalities. Everybody here may have tried different modalities, whether that's prayer or meditation, yoga or hiking or dance, but we all have some way, hopefully, that brings us inside. Because once we go inside, we reach a point where our mind is still, where the body is still, and then we can't articulate all the things we just articulated. So when we say that we are in oneness, oneness can only be found in stillness. The moment we talk, we're a little bit separate from it, even though we're in it. So all of our language actually resonates from silence, from this great womb, this great mother womb. Everything comes from that womb into our reality. But what happens is we get in circular patterns with the same thoughts, the same way of doing things, same old, and we just get stuck in this like circular thing all day long. So we are taught about love with a friend, or we're taught about love with our parents. But most of us have never been taught how to bring that love to ourselves. We're very good when a friend comes to us and we offer them great wisdom that we don't follow. We give them great advice that we might not follow. But the most powerful thing that we can do when someone is in stress or someone is moving through something is to listen. Because that listening is coming from that vast stillness, that vast consciousness. And within that, the right words will come if you need to give that person the right words. The same is true for us. Are you able to sit with yourself when you're moving through something? Can you sit still with yourself as the chaos is unfolding, as the mind is screaming at you? You've got a problem, fix that, fix that. Are you able to sit and observe that? Or maybe if we're not comfortable with sitting with ourselves, what we do is we begin to take action or go shopping or do other things other than just being where we are. So we are moving collectively, whether you know it or not, into who we actually are as beings on this planet. And love is real, and love is equality, and love is justice. These are qualities in which are natural for love to stand in. These qualities happen within that stillness. So when you start to begin to listen to the space between someone's words, when you begin to listen into the spaciousness that's surrounding this room right now, the spaciousness that we're in, as you begin to focus on the space between your toes, the space between your bones, if you focus in on your own temple and come from your own temple, then you'll begin to give the same love that you give to your partner or your friends or your family members, and you'll begin to give that same love to yourself. I'm going to share with you a story that has unfolded over the past month in my life. And it comes from a place of love. And I feel like we are brought into situations, or people are brought into our life because we are in this love school. Does that mean that I don't have a choice in it? I definitely have a choice in it. I have a choice, and my choice is whether I stay or not, or whether I speak up or not. And we are learning that as well. As we begin to love ourselves, we're all beginning to speak up. And it's showing in different avenues in our society today. It's very important. It's a very important lesson for our youth to know. That it's okay to speak up, that it's okay to say something, that it's okay to question things. Just because we have different opinions doesn't mean that I hate you. It actually just means that it's okay to disagree. There's nothing wrong with disagreeing. But we're here to understand where we're coming from, so we can cohabitate on this beautiful planet together. So about a month ago, I got a message from the owner of my apartment complex, who, for whatever reason, when my check got mailed to her, she didn't receive it. Fine, you can always go to the bank and stop the check, get a new check. My landowner, my parents might say, as my mom has expressed, might say, a slumlord in some way. So I began to get nightly calls from her, filled with lots of hate, and very demanding. It was an interesting part of me to just observe. Once those ended, her nephew decided to send me text messages and started harassing me, because I wasn't moving fast enough for them, I guess. So I didn't know what else to do. My place needed some fixing up that they weren't taking care of. So I did what I've never done in my life. I went to the city of LA. And I filed a harassment complaint against them. And it's great because he sent me all those text messages and voice messages. I gave them to the harassment board, so they're investigating. And then the city came and looked at my apartment. And so they gave her a report, the landlady. She got really, really upset. This is where love comes in. This is where leadership comes in, right? This is where leadership comes in. So there I am standing alone. There are 30 other people in my building, and she's ranting and raving. So I said, you can rant and rave all you want. It's still not going to fix my place. You can scream and yell and blame me and play the part of a victim and feel good about yourself, because people feel good when they're blaming other people, right? You feel a little good for a little bit when you're complaining again about others, when you're judging others, when you're throwing stuff on other people like it's their fault and you have no other choice, that you didn't have a choice in it, that you don't have responsibility for your words, your actions. Why that was pivotal for me was that from that point on, I was taken care of from people in the city that were like earth angels. From that point on, I just let her know. I said, well, now my landlady is trying to do this now. I told the city, and guess what? I haven't heard from them at all. That's important because each of you have rights that are natural to you, that none of you should ever be bullied. None of you should ever be put down. And the moment that happens, that love speaks up. And it doesn't speak up demonstratively, it might, but it speaks up in this way in which all of a sudden, as it's speaking from a place of truth, magically, other people start to come into play that help facilitate more support and safety. Because sometimes we forget that we are walking on a planet that we each have been given rights from God, essentially. That means that each and every person in this room is equal to each other. That each of you in this room matter. That each of you are made in that love, compassion, kindness, gentleness. And those are strong qualities. I say that because we seem to exist in a society where It feels like if someone's compassionate or kind, people label that as a weakness in some way, or they misinterpret it as a weakness. But what I recognized in the situation with the owner of my building was I was quiet. I was peaceful. I had nothing to fight about. There was no fight. And the more that I wasn't interacting with that reaction that people get into, the louder someone gets, and there's no more fight coming back, and now they have to look at themselves. That's the power of listening. That's the power of love. When you deeply listen to someone, what you're doing is you're giving them a reflection that's coming back to them. The moment that you engage it with a reaction, you're both stuck in that energetic. So the power of love is quiet. Right? When we are not in that loving quietude, what happens is we hold on. We hold on to people. We hold on to past relationships. We hold on to old jobs that never worked out. We hold on to like old school pals that did something wrong to us. We hold on to all this. But if there is only right now, right where you are is right where you are. If that's all there is, what are we thinking about? I mean, what are we thinking about? What is more important than right where you are? So if you're thinking about an hour from now or tomorrow, what you're saying to yourself is that you're not good enough to be right here, that you don't love yourself enough to just be here, that you don't feel like you're worthy enough or good enough or whatever the language is, that for whatever reason, there are other things that are more important than you, than being right here, right where you are, fully in your body, fully safe, fully secure, fully loving yourself. That when you're going through something and you run away or you hide, what you're saying is that that minute thing that's come into your life has more power over you than the power inside of you. What would life look like if we were with each other, both inside of ourselves and with others, without running, without hiding, just sitting there and allowing the words to come, sitting here and allowing a hug to come out from you, sitting here and giving somebody a smile without wanting anything in return. This is the nature of the love that we are. And on a constant basis, we are told otherwise. And the reason for that is we've never really been taught that your ego is actually okay. We have people that are trying to get rid of their ego and trying to like slay it. And then we have other groups that are like, no, keep it. Then you have other groups that are this. Listen, when your ego's taking over in your life, it doesn't feel safe. So it's like finding this like really angry friend or like someone that doesn't like you because they feel separate from themselves and they want you to bring them back home. So what do? You observe them. You listen. You don't engage them, right? So it starts from your inside. You're listening and observing this noise that is going on inside of you. Because in your life, you're going to do the exact same thing so that you bring peace right where you are, amidst the storm. Now, the message that I just told you about with the landlady, the reason why I said it's what a leader does is because nobody in my building and nobody in her life over 30 years has ever stood up to her. Why? Because they're scared of her. Because she gets demonstrative. Then she starts sending like her nephew on you, and then she does all this other stuff, right? But I just sat there, and because of that, she's been at my apartment looking at everybody's apartments. So now my actions have affected 30 people in my building that maybe Most of them maybe didn't stand up for themselves because I have a little bit of an older community in my building. And then that's going to permeate because then those people are going to go, oh, good, you're here. I want to share other stuff that needs to be fixed or whatever it is. So that's the power of your presence. That's the suggestion. You're a leader when you're present. You're a follower when you can't be present. Who are you following? You're probably going to follow the thoughts. You're probably going to follow your ego. You're probably going to follow other people. Why? Because you're not giving yourself permission to be here and love yourself. How do we love ourselves? We're here. How do you love your friends? You're present with them. Love is presence. It's not an idea. It's not a concept. It starts there. But then we come back home, which is here. You will never leave here. That's the joke. You've always been here. You will die here, right? It's all happening here. And while you're here, you're making things up. Who's better? Who's not good? You're better than so-and-so. Or they have too much money and you don't have enough. Or they're doing this and you're not doing that, right? It's a constant battle. And love doesn't care. It has no care. Because the truth doesn't need you to believe it. The truth never asks you to believe it. The truth doesn't have to convince you to believe it. The truth is always the truth, and there is no opposite. Nothing can oppose the truth. So when you stand in the presence, you're standing in truth because you're completely quiet. So every time you get noisy, it's like a child throwing a tantrum. Or you ask your child, or you ask a friend, or you ask a partner, you ask somebody, where have you been, right? And they can't tell you the truth, so they make it up. They tell you a lie, right? That's what the mind is doing to us to get us away from here. Why would the mind, your ego, be scared of being here? We have to ask ourselves individually, why am I so frightened to be here? And why do I feel that I have great comfort from thoughts that come in and out? Can you imagine you're getting your comfort from thoughts that keep coming in and out? These thoughts don't stick around. So how can they be truthful? This is it. And that's a bummer. It's a bummer to the mind. Because when we observe it and we observe the observed, and we start bringing that awareness back, what we understand is that this is it, right where you are. And we watch the mind, and the mind's like, no, there's something better. There's something going on. What about a half hour from now, after service is over, I've got to go blah, blah, blah. And then, but yesterday happened, and then yesterday was dramatic, and this, right? And then 10 o'clock at night happens. And you don't know what happened to your day. Because you spent the whole time like, It's like a Three Stooges routine. All day long. Never present. Never present. At all. Jumping around, moving around, dancing around, watching too much TV, going shopping, doing this, doing that, all the while because that's what the mind is telling you. It's telling all of us, that's how I know. And so the invitation for us is here. And before I go, let us look at here, not as an H-E-R-E. Yes. Let us look at it as H-E-A-R. That you are deeply hearing the presence. That you are so attuned that the question that comes up in your mind is, and this might stun some of you, what is my next thought? Ask yourself right now, to yourself, don't say it out loud, what is my next thought? And watch how present you get. What is my next thought? And you're right here. Why? You're like a cat watching a mouse hole, for the next thought. That's presence. If you can keep asking yourself that question and reminding yourself, I am now, what you'll discover is that you're on a heightened state of alert. That you're in that third eye opening and you're right here and you've got it. You've got this. Sound good? Take that into your holidays, because there's a great birth happening not only at the end of this month, but it's happening in your own life right now. Things that used to work for you need to go away. They don't work anymore, and we're letting it all go. And how do you let something go? You just get quiet, and you let God take care of it. It's easy. We've made letting go like this huge, monumental thing. How do I let go? How do I let go? How do I let go? Just get quiet. How do I get quiet? How do I get quiet? How do I get quiet? Meditate. How do I meditate? How do I meditate? Like it's just right here. Just be aware of your body. Be aware of your breath. Because the awareness that we are is unconditional love. That's why we can't talk about it. Awareness is unconditional love. It's the only thing that we have that doesn't judge or condemn. When you bring awareness to anything in your life, it will transform. And it won't transform like the mind wants to do, like instantaneous. But what it will do is if you, for example, if you're in the doctor's office and your foot's doing this, right? We've all done this, I think, because we're nervous or whatever's going on. You bring your awareness to it, and what happens? Did you have to do any hard work? Did you have to read thousands of books? Did you have to go on top of a mountain and get like enlightened and have light fly out of your body for that experience? No. All you did was bring your awareness to it. That's the power of awareness. Your awareness, once it's aware of something, that thing that it has become aware of transforms itself back into its natural state. Make sense? Cool. I don't want to take any more time. So let us go into a quick meditation. And some of you could use this throughout your day. So if it helps you, bring your attention to this area of your body, top of your chest, which is considered your heart chakra. And just picture your breath going into your heart area and out again. And we'll just do this for about a minute and a half. Just picture the breath. Let it flow into that heart area and out. And you can continue to take this heart breathing into your day-to-day, into your jobs, into your life. It will help you still your mind. After 2 minutes of heart breathing, that's what happens. And so it is in this environment of love, in the unified field, that we are grateful, that we appreciate, that we bless our family and friends. We release all concerns and worries to love. And I simply say, and so it is. Amen.